Yeah, hi everyone. We're gonna start today's show here with the promo code on the screen because I don't want to show my face after this last weekend. So go over to Underdog Fantasy, use code GETRIGHT, 50% deposit match up $2,000. Fortunately, you won't be able to bet on any Green Bay players this coming week. Yeah, but we're here, unfortunately. Well, for me, Jack, I'm sure you're happy. I
I'm a
don't even
happy
want to
boy.
talk anymore. Jack, you take it away.
I am a happy boy, and I gotta say, you know, I gotta respect my co-host, respect co-hosts. It's as much as I wanted the Eagles to win. I'm not gonna put salt in the wound. I am happy the Eagles won, though. I am happy the Eagles won, and it's just the way the dice was rolled that it had to be Packers Eagles in the playoffs. Man, you couldn't have written it better. You couldn't have written it better for the show.
I know our first season going at it, and look what happens.
Yeah,
It's almost like it was meant to be.
yeah,
Fate.
man. And it was almost meant to be, and we talk about it on the show. The man that basically founded this show, Mr. Dontayvion Wicks,
Dontayvion
the only
Wicks.
man who survived the brawl, the only man
Ugh.
who stood sitting there at the end of the game, and at least Dontayvion's healthy, is what I was
Yeah, I
thinking
mean
watching.
the only thing more broken than that Green Bay roster is my heart right now.
Phew.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, unfortunately, being a NFL podcast here, as much as I don't want to talk about it, I guess we have to. Jack, since your Philadelphia Eagles won, I'll ask you first. What are some things you liked coming out of the game? What are some things after watching the game you're a little, can't keep this going into next week? So, your pros, your cons. What are we feeling good about? What are we feeling bad about?
Well, I think the easy knee-jerk reaction for the pros on the Eagles side is the defense. I mean, the defense, both defenses, really, Packers and Eagles defenses were lights out. I mean, it was a boring game to watch in the first half. I mean, obviously, it seemed like the Eagles were up by 30 points, but they were only up by two possessions. You know what I mean? It was a 10-point game for a while there, and it was just slow. And you know, you asked me something that I didn't like about the football game, and I think that a lot of people are kind of reading too much into, especially if anyone else out there listens to other sports analysts podcasts or talking heads. You had a lot of people talking trash on Jalen Hurts. You had a lot of people talking smack on, you know, uh, AJ Brown only had one catch for 10 yards or whatever it was, and uh, you know Jalen Hurts, uh, has 26 touchdowns and on the year, and like only 16 of them are passing. It's like, oh, he looked slow against Green Bay, and it's like he was out for 3 weeks on concussion
Yeah.
protocol. Like, let him get the rust off a little bit. And you know, to be frank, and I've ranted about this on the show in the past, so I won't do it again. But the offense is run through Saquon Barkley, man. It's just run through
No
Saquon.
pun intended.
No pun intended. It literally, quite literally, runs through and with Saquon Barkley, and so it makes sense that your quarterback shouldn't have to pass for 300 yards in
Yeah.
a game. Would you rather your quarterback pass for 350 and four touchdowns and you lose the game, or he barely throws for 100 yards, no touchdown, and you win? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, because you're either the Philadelphia Eagles or you're the Cincinnati Bengals at that point. And,
Damn
well,
straight.
look what the Bengals are. Talk about a man reading too into things. AJ Brown on the sideline, getting some mental exercises there. I know a lot
Dude,
of people were bashing him, but whatever. I don't. I think a lot of people were overreact on that.
no, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly thought that it was kind of awesome. Um, it was it's like a self-help help. Oh,
Yeah, wasn't
geez.
it like Inner Excellence or something? It was called.
It was a self-help book. It
Yeah,
was Inner Excellence. Yeah, and I thought it was perfect. I thought it was almost kind of. I think he knows what he's doing because
yeah.
the whole narrative for him was that he's this diva. He wants to see the ball. Blah blah
Hmm.
blah. Dude, he's just reading. He's just getting his knowledge on the sideline, trying to be a
Yeah,
better human. And it's like, how can the media really spin that at the end of the day? You know what I'm saying? When he's sitting
Yeah, I
there,
mean, they're going to do what they can, but I mean,
yeah,
I rather my star receiver reading on the sideline than throwing
pouting,
tantrums and
yeah, yeah, but it's just funny because you see him there and like they were poking fun of the book and everything, but like he's smiling. You know what I mean? He was cheering when like Saquon's getting runs and stuff, and it's like, yeah, like you're chasing a ring right now. Like you should be happy, even if you did get
absolutely
one catch for 10 yards.
team one.
Team won.
That's
So
all that matters. Team one.
yeah. So um, defense played good, and I think yeah, did Jalen look a little rusty? Yes, but I think that's going to get a little bit better as we go on in the next week here. Um, I guess to kind of boomerang it right back at you. Obviously, unfortunately, the season is over for the Packers. But uh, while they go to Cancun, what what do you think looked good, and what do you think, if anything, needs improvement? Because a lot of people are talking smack on Jordan Love, and I personally don't think that it was all his fault.
So one thing I liked, and I'll touch on the point you touched on, at the defense for a very good portion of that game, outside of a few plays, but you're not going to play a perfect defensive game against an offense like Philly. Overall, I think the offense did play very well. Um, you can argue that maybe they let up one less touchdown, depending on if they fumbled that opening kickoff or not. Hindsight's 2020 on that one. Um, However, there's not a lot of good to come out of this game. Offense looked flat. Looked like a lot of players outside of Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed, who I talked some smack on the Saturday stream. Outside of those two guys, a lot of people just looked unmotivated, um, very undisciplined. What I think this game did the most is really open, or not open the eyes, really, what's the word I'm looking for? It
Exposed.
really it really pointed out our flaws, we'll say. It really showed our weaknesses and our weak points, um, which I've been saying for the past couple of weeks now. We need to get ourselves a wide receiver one, a true wide receiver one, which I thought coming into the season we were going to have, whether it be Watson or Dobbs or Reed, one of the three. I thought we're going to step up and be that one.
Mm-hmm.
None of them made that leap. I talked about Jaden Reed. He actually kind of took a step back coming into this year. So yeah, I think we definitely need that true wide receiver one, which they're saying that Green Bay's interested. They're gonna, throw their hat into the T. Higgins sweepstakes. There's been some speculation we might get Devontae Adams back, depending on what happens with him and the
Wow.
Jets. Xavier McKinney already throwing some tweets at him. There's some other guys, like Tyreek Hill is going to be a name that people talk about.
Dude,
So
Tyreek and the
that are not
Packers would be
me.
absolutely insane.
Yeah. So I mean, out of let's just hypothetically talking, if those three are the top three guys, you probably want Higgins, younger star, has a lot of life left in him. However, you could probably get Adams for cheap, and he knows the system. So it's not like he's coming in and having to need to learn a whole new system. He played on the floor. He played with Love. He'll come back to a system that he's used to, that he's played in, had success in.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, could be more of a mentor to these young guys than a T. Higgins could be, or than I would want a Tyreek Hill to be. So if we can, we have to see what the Jets do with Adams first, or maybe we make a trade for him. We'll see what happens. But I would love to see Devontae Adams back in the door. I go on Twitter and I see some Green Bay fans saying they don't want him back, and I don't understand why you wouldn't. I can't think of a good reason to not bring him back, other than I don't know, other than just people just being butthurt that he left in the first place. Um, another thing I think, another weakness that they pointed out. I think we need to improve on our pass rushing. especially on the outside. Rashawn Gary, we gave him this huge contract a few years ago. It's another guy who just seemed to take a step back this year. It seems outside of a couple players,
Edgerrin Cooper had a couple good plays.
Oh, Edgerrin Cooper may be our best draft pick this year. I mean, Green Bay killed in the draft this year. I was a little, again, hindsight 2020 kind of thing. I was a little after our first round taking Jordan Morgan. I was like, oh, what the hell are we doing? We need secondary help. But I think overall we drafted well this year.
Mhm.
I just hope that we could, draft well going into next season. Go get ourselves that true number one. Maybe get a pass rusher. And another thing, that you asked with Jordan Love and people blaming Jordan Love, he's young. I know he's been in the league for 5 years, but it's only been his second year starting.
Right.
And, he's shown glimpses that he could be, a truly elite quarterback. He has the skill set there. I just don't know what it is sometimes. His decision-making sometimes is very questionable. I'll point out the first play after the 2-minute warning. They just got a first down. Then he throws it, in the double coverage, 50 yards into the end zone. I know you need to score fast, but you also got to keep in mind you're down your top 3 receivers at this point.
Yeah.
You can't really be making throws like that. Had 2 more interceptions on the day. One, he just threw it right at Zach Bond. So, that's on him. Again, the other one, he's thrown it deep to, I think, Wicks.
One was to Wicks,
receiver, but Slay just made a good play on that ball. But I mean, even it just goes to show that the young and unpolished skills of these receivers, like at Wicks, you got to fight for that a little more. You can't just keep running and assume it's going to fall in your hands. The corner's draped all over you. You got to get physical, because even if you get an offensive pass interference, guess what? It's not a turnover. Right. I rather, commit the penalty. Who cares? So those are just kind of my, I guess, takeaways from it. It sucks that the season's over, but, I'm an optimistic Packer fan here. I'm not writing them off, because even from last year to this year, we improved our win totals. We improved in point differential. And, we still have, we have the lowest as far as players who are now free agents. We have the lowest snap count. Like all the players that we have going to free agency, out of all 32 teams, our players have the lowest snap count. So it's not like we're losing, players who are playing a whole ton.
Yeah.
I know there's speculation about Jair Alexander not coming back next year. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Might need to, feel a little bit more on that one. Is he a great player? Yeah. But he just can't seem to stay in the field.
He's incredibly.
Yeah. So paying all this money to play half a season, I understand why they would get rid of him, or maybe see if they'll restructure. But I don't think a guy like Jair Alexander is going to restructure. So I'd be interested to see what happens there. I know we have 3 good safeties. McKinney, Evan Williams ended up being a great pick for us, and Javon Bullard towards the end of the year, started playing very well. Played very well, against the Eagles. So we do have 3 good safeties. I know Keyshawn Nixon said he wants to start focusing more on being a corner and not a kick returner. And I think if he does just solely focus on being a corner, he could be good. And, if we have some weaknesses we need to patch up, but I'm not necessarily freaking out. Like I said, I'm optimistic. Yeah, we lost. However, I don't think we're far off from getting over the hump.
No, I think that definitely, and I'm the non-Packer fan here, obviously, but even based on the things that you just said, I feel like in free agency and through the draft, 2 of the big positions that stick out for me is probably wide receiver and corner. That's probably where I would imagine. I mean, obviously you mentioned pass rush too, but you might lose Jair. You're going to need to fill that hole. Obviously, can Nixon do that? Can he not? Maybe see who's floating around in free agency and kind of
Yeah.
just juggle your options there and figure out who you want to pull the trigger on. Um, but yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you know,
I know it went a little long there, but I had
no, no, no. I mean, hey,
some
man,
feelings and emotions have to get out.
yeah, no. That's I ask you a question, you gotta go off. You gotta The doctor's got to give you
I don't have
John
a team to
Hopkins.
talk about the rest of the year, so I figured I'd get it out now.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Now, obviously, Packers are done. It's going to be the early off season for them. But is there any team or player where they're still keeping your attention and you're low key pulling for them, even though the Packers are gone? You're still rooting for a player or a guy now,
Um,
or a player or a team, I should say.
yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be a selfish pick here, but it's only gonna make me sound smart if they do make a little run here. But if
Texans.
the Houston Texans, happen to go on a little run here, um, the further they go, the smarter I'm gonna sound. Because preseason I had them as a nice little sleeper pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough sledding. They have to go through the Chiefs and then either the Bills or Ravens, so it's not gonna be easy. But it's not impossible. Plus,
Nope.
they'd be on the road for both those games, so it's going to be very tough to get there. Um, However, I'd like to see a guy like Lamar maybe win one.
My boy
Really,
Lamar.
oh, good. Excuse me. Yeah, see a guy like Lamar win one. Really, the fuck's the word I'm looking for?
Silence all the haters.
Silence the haters. Further his
Resume.
resume.
Yeah,
I
dude, he's
just
probably gonna win
At this
MVP.
point, it's really anyone, but I'd hate to see the Chiefs fucking win again because I'm sick of that shit.
Anything but the
Um,
Chiefs.
yeah, so I mean, like I said, selfishly, I'd like to see the Houston Texans go on a little run. Um, Again, Ravens, wouldn't mind seeing them win. NFC, though, I think it'd be kind of cool if the Commanders go on a little run. I guess I'm just pulling for the Cinderella stories at this point because it's
Yeah,
it's just a nice sports story,
that's
It's
fair.
fun to watch.
That's
It's
fair.
like the
That's fair.
Bengals when they made that run a couple of years ago. It was like everyone in America other than LA was rooting for the Bengals, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm rooting for again this year, I guess, if I had to pick.
Well, I'm pulling for the birds.
Well, I guess that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
our
also,
question is who I think's going to win as opposed to who I want to win.
yeah, there we go.
Who I think's going to win. I mean, it's hard to not say Chiefs. Um,
So hard.
as bad as their offense has been in the regular season, I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs ever, especially against, the Texans, which I think they knocked out of the playoffs last year, and against the Bills and Ravens, which I think they've also knocked out of the playoffs in previous years.
Yeah,
Um,
they have.
So, I mean, I think the Chiefs come out of the AFC as much as I don't want to see that. Out of the NFC, I think it comes down between it's probably between the Lions or Birds at this point. I would give edge to the Birds, honestly, just due to experience. And I think they're a healthier team. I know Nakobe Dean went down, but I think they're a healthier team at this point. So I would give the edge to Philly. Because Dan Campbell, as much as he can coach himself wins, he can coach himself into losses.
You can. Dan
So
Gamble,
I
baby.
can see a Chiefs Birds rematch, and if that's the case, then I'd want the Birds to win. But like I said,
Dude,
it's tough not to pick the Chiefs.
as a diehard Eagles fan who had to suffer that Super Bowl loss because of a James Bradbury hold, and I use the word hold loosely. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to sound like the salty fan that's not calling it a hold because James Bradbury said that it was a hold, so that's tough. That being said, in a regular season game, refs don't call that half the time. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say it. I'm just gonna say it, and that's all I'm gonna talk about it. But after that, after losing like that, part of me wants to see the Chiefs again and just have the rematch. Let's
Actually
do
beating
it.
his team.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Why
Plus,
not?
Saquon deserves a freaking ring, man.
Yeah, I will say though, I mean, I'm not going to sleep on the Rams though.
No,
I'm not going to sleep on them. Stafford's been to the Super Bowl. He's been in the playoffs plenty of times. I mean, don't sleep on him. We have the two coop 1 cup, or what is it? Two coop one. Two, what was the game? Coop, Cooper Cup, and Cooper Jean. 2 coops 1 cup. That's what it is. The 2 coops
two
one
coops,
cup
one
game.
cup.
Two
Yeah,
coops 1 cup.
2 coops, 1 cup. Dude,
Took me a minute to get that one out.
it's gonna be the Milk Bowl.
The Milk Bowl. It's going to
Yeah.
be the Antonio Brown Cracker Bowl.
Hey, man, Cracker of the Year. Cooper DeJean is my Cracker of the Year.
It's true. Going up
Let's see.
another
Going up against another Cracker.
Cracker of the Year contender.
Contender, yeah, runner up, Cooper Cup.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think any team left, and obviously any team left could still win the Super Bowl, obviously. But I don't think there's a clear cut like, oh, these guys are going to run away with it. Like I said, it's hard to go against the Chiefs, but I could see scenario, as weird as it sounds, I can see like the Commanders making like a weird Bengals run from a couple years ago.
I feel like as much as I think that I want them to win, because I think I'd rather play the Commanders as an Eagles fan than the Lions. I think that the Lions probably have their number this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lions win too, but like I'm just saying, like if we're sitting here next week recapping the games, I'm not gonna be like, holy shit, Commanders want to be like, yeah, understandable.
It is insane though the run that Jaden Daniels has been on.
Mhm.
I mean, the Washington football team has not won a football playoff game in 19 years.
Oh,
19
got that
years.
magic.
19
They
years.
got that
And then,
magic. No pun intended.
well, they got the magic. This kid's a rookie, and in his first year in the NFL, takes me to a playoff game in 19 years. That's insane.
I mean, if anything, I know Rookie of the Year, contention was close down the stretch, but I know the voters aren't supposed to take playoffs into account, but I think some of them are going to. So I think Jaden Daniels, with that win, kind of solidified himself as the Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, you can't. It's hard to argue with him. I mean,
And I think another guy who solidified himself as defensive Rookie of the Year was Jared Verse this past weekend too. So I think those words are kind of sealed up.
yeah,
I would think.
yeah. Quinion had a good year, but it is going to be tough against an edge rusher who that position usually gets the edge.
I think I saw something with Jared Verse. Jared Verse had like the most like double teams on him, like blocking wise. He was like third in the league behind Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. Like he was third in the league, which as a rookie, that's insane to think.
Pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So future's looking up for him. And the Rams, well, I wouldn't say future's looking up for the Rams, but aging quarterback. But outside of that, I mean, Puka Nasua's young, Kyron Williams young, the defense is young.
Plus, you're chasing a ring right now. You don't need to worry about the future because you're in the present. You're here.
Yeah, 2 wins.
Yeah,
2 wins from the Super Bowl.
So,
I'm not counting them out. I could, I could see them beating Philly.
I saw something the other day on the odds, the Super Bowl odds. I was checking them on FanDuel specifically, although I'm sure on most sports books they're pretty similar. If you bet $10 on the Texans to win the Super Bowl, payout's about $150.
Might have to.
That's pretty insane for a team that has overcome a lot of injuries and CJ Stroud, is he in the sophomore slump? I mean, I think he's been performing well when he has to, under pressure when he need it.
Yeah, hey,
And
like we talked about earlier, a win's a win.
a
He's
win
playing
is
good
a
enough to
win.
get the wins.
A win is a win. And right now, the Texans need a max win, dude. They need a fat one against the
God,
Chiefs.
I'm hoping, man. I'm truly hoping.
If the Texans beat the Chiefs, we need to have a parade.
Sure.
We need
Like I
to
said,
have
the further the Texans go from this point on, the smarter I look. So
I put
not only
5.
am I rooting for the Texans, I'm rooting for my own intelligence here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as much as I want them to lose, to, I'm pulling for the Eagles. So if they go to the Super Bowl, I want them to lose. However, while I did put some money on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season as a loyal yet sometimes insane fan, I also put a sneaky fiver on Houston to
Ooh,
win
a
the
fiver
Super
in the
Bowl.
beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year, payout is pretty solid from what I remember. So a little over $100, I believe. So
A nice little fiver.
if the Eagles happen to lose, I'd be slightly pulling for Stroud. But I love Lamar too, so it's just gonna be tough. Hey, right now it's just go Birds, man. It's go Birds.
Yeah, I mean at
Go
this point,
Birds.
like I said, it's kind of anyone but the Chiefs.
Yeah, true.
Um,
That as well.
I mean, I wouldn't like to see. I don't know. A lot of people want to see Detroit win it because it's like, oh, it's Detroit. It's a great story, but no, fuck the Lions.
You're a Packers fan though. Your opinion doesn't it's biased.
Yeah,
It's a little
take mine
biased.
with a grain of salt.
Uh, a grain of salt from the salt man over here.
Grain of salty over here is what I am. Jeez. Well, I mean,
We touched on some
do
playoffs, and we ran through the playoffs a little bit.
do we want to give predictions on the actual games or?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do a fun little exercise here. I'm gonna have you run through like a bracket. Basically, gonna make a bracket. We're gonna do Cody's playoff bracket, and
Cody's
I'm
playoff
I'm saying it's Cody's playoff bracket because
because your team's still in.
my team's still in, and I don't even want to say anything. I'm taking the Cody approach,
All
where I'm
right.
not talking about it, and I'm gonna let you check off the boxes. So the first match on Saturday is Texans Chiefs at 4:30 p.m.
Yeah, Texans Chiefs. Like I said, I like the Texans. I want the Texans to win. I think
But
the
do you
Chiefs will
think
win. I'll take the Chiefs.
he's taking the Chiefs? I think the Chiefs it's in
I
Arrowhead
will
too.
take Texans at plus 8.5, though.
The spread's nice.
Yeah,
Spread's
I'll take
fast.
that spread easy.
So check the spread, but you're locking in Chiefs. You think the Chiefs win that one?
I'll take Chiefs, but as a betting man, I will take Houston at plus 8.5.
All right, now the NFC matchup on Saturday at 8 o'clock is Commanders at Lions.
Yeah, again, I will go Lions here, but it's another one I will take the spread. They have spread at 9.5.
I
So I'll
think
go
this.
Lions, but take the spread.
I think a lot of the Commanders games have been coming down. They've been one possession games, field goal
Yeah, I don't know.
games,
I don't know why they have these
touchdown
spreads
games,
so. I don't know why the
low
spreads are so much on this.
or high rather. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I could see this being like
I might just throw these spreads in on a little parlay here.
I could see an overtime. I could see an overtime in this
Yeah, I
game.
mean the Chiefs. Who have they really beaten by more than 8.5 points this year? Not much. I think they have the most one score wins all
In
year.
the league. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, 8.5. I'll take that. I'll take that any day. And then the Commanders plus 9.5. I'll take that too.
Andy Reid knows how to push
Detroit's
out
defense is too banged up
a
for
win.
Washington not to score like at least 25.
Yeah, fair.
I know they held to Minnesota like 9 2 weeks ago, but Washington's offense is better in my opinion.
But you're still going Detroit.
Oh, Detroit, yeah, Detroit wins,
But
Washington covers the spread.
close. Yeah, okay. All right,
I
see you
will tweet. Speaking of Minnesota, going off on a little tangent here,
later.
I think Sam Darnold has played himself out of, uh, you know, money that he would have made prior to 2 weeks ago. Back-to-back weeks of only putting up 9 points. And the two probably most important games of this season, honestly, not even arguably, it was the two most important games of the season. Loses them both, only scoring 18 points between the two of them. Yeah, so I think he played himself out of a lot of contract talks. He'll still get a contract, but I don't think he's going to get one as much as people were saying he would have gotten 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this with someone recently, and I think you have to give the guy credit for getting you there because I mean they won like 13 games.
Yeah,
Like that's pretty. That's no easy feat. I mean, you won 13 games in the National Football League.
sure. I think it was
Hard.
14, actually. Wasn't it 14?
It might, yeah,
14
it
too.
might have been 14. And you know, around like mid-season, this guy was actually in the MVP conversation. People
Sure.
were actually having, not as the easy number one, but like this dude was in like the top three.
His name was
Like
getting mentioned, yeah.
his name was getting mentioned, and I think it's kind of tough because how much of it do you credit to Kevin O'Connell because you had Josh Dobbs on a run last year for
Sure.
no reason. um, you also have arguably the best wide receiver in the league on that team in Justin Jefferson, a phenomenal complementary wide receiver for when they double team Jettis in Jordan Addison. You have a elite, arguably elite when he's healthy, TJ Hawkinson, tight end.
Mhm. And a good
Solid off.
offensive line. Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't look too good against the Rams defense, who played lights out, but usually solid offensive
9
line.
sacks.
So, how much of it do you credit to Sam Darnold? And the real question is, you took a young man by the name of J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan
Mhm.
in the first round, top 5 draft pick, okay, last year. Are you going to let a flash in the pan Sam Darnold, who crumbled in the playoffs, turn you off from this young man's career entirely? Like, are you really willing to just? Some people have the Vikings like, oh, they should trade JJ McCarthy to the Giants or whatever. It's like, why would you? Why would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely have some interesting conversations to have in that front office this offseason. Because do you walk away from the guy that got you 14 wins and go to the guy you drafted? Do you stay with the guy who got you 14 wins? Trade the guy you drafted? It's gonna be interesting to think. Um, it
But
seems
do you
like public
settle?
opinion, as
Do you?
far as seeing on Twitter, it's kind of split. Um, yeah, I don't know.
I think if you give Sam Darnold 40 million a year or more, you're settling. I
Yeah,
I, I
see,
don't like that.
I don't think he's gonna get 40 million a year.
Daniel Jones got
Weeks
40.
ago, he probably could have got 40 million.
Daniel Jones
I
got
don't think a
40.
team's gonna go. Yeah, but that was my grandmother knows that was a bonehead move.
But quarterbacks get
No
paid a lot
offense,
of money.
grandma. Grandma knows ball, but
Grandma Puza, she
grandma
knows
knows
ball.
ball. But I mean, he's gonna get a contract. It's
Oh,
just
he's
gonna
gonna
be
play
interesting to
somewhere.
see. Yeah,
He's
it's just
gonna
be
play
interesting to see
somewhere.
what the details of it are. Because, like you said, middle of the season, he was an MVP contender. Now he's kind of looked at like, oh, he disappeared the last 2 weeks when it mattered most.
Right. Yeah. Do you? I mean, I hate to compare these two because I think that if you were to compare these two 2 years ago, people would look at you like you had 7 heads. But you could argue that if the Vikings re-sign Sam Darnold, they are effectively just repeating what they did with Kirk Cousins, and you're just settling for this guy who could perform pretty well in the regular season. He could put up very solid numbers. Sometimes he chokes, but sometimes on paper, he's pretty good. He gets you enough wins to get into the playoffs, and then you
Nothing
just
more.
crumble. You just crumble, and
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
think
it's like
Ivan. Oh, God, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
no, no, you're good. I was just gonna say it's like, would you rather settle and be average? Get into the playoffs every year. You know, in a tough division, mind you. So that
If
adds
you're
to it.
Mike
It's
Tomlin,
tough.
you might prefer that.
Mike Tomlin loves being average. He loves it. He loves it, but he thrives off it. Apparently, I mean,
Yeah.
he still has a job. Uh,
Somehow.
but even that, like, if I'm a Steelers fan, like, you got to be sitting there, like, guys like Mike Tomlin, guys like a Sam Darnold or a Kirk Cousins, with the Vikings in the years past, like even the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, like you get there. You get there. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys should get rid of Dak or that the Vikings should 1000% get rid of Sam
Mhm.
or Mike Tomlin should be fired. I'm not saying any of those things. But at the end of the day, would you rather just settle? Like think about it like you're in a relationship, you know.
Mhm.
Most of the time it's pretty good. Your girlfriend's nice and like you're having a good time, but like every now and then like just at the end of the year, the beginning of the year goes pretty good. Every now and then there's a speed bump, there's whatever. And then at the end of the year, she's just awful. She's a bitch. Like
Hey,
you just don't
hey,
want
I love my girlfriend, and if you're watching.
to shout out Nader. But this is theoretical. I'm not talking about Nina. I'm talking about a theoretical girlfriend. Okay,
Gotcha.
where she just gives you hell at the end of the year, and then the next year comes, and you're like, oh, but like it's okay again, right? Like, does the good outweigh the bad enough, or would I rather stop settling and actually take a chance on having my dream wife?
Yeah. No, I absolutely get what you mean. Another thing I've been seeing floating around as far as options for the Vikings is let Darnold go. You keep JJ, but you go sign Aaron Rodgers. I've been seeing that a lot too. And I'm just like, what's the point? I'm like, just sign Darnold. The only thing is, I get why, because Darnold isn't going to want a 1 year deal, whereas you can maybe get Rodgers on a 1 year deal. So it gives you that, 1 year gap quarterback. But I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if that
People
makes sense either.
people just want to see Aaron complete the Brett Favre
Life cycle. Yeah, a little.
cycle, and it's just not going to happen. I
Although
think
I think I saw the Steelers actually have the best odds to get Rodgers if he does become a free agent.
I feel like
But I've also saw reports that Steelers might give Fields a 3 year deal. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's going to be an interesting offseason. It's actually an offseason that I'm kind of excited for.
if I was a betting man, which I am, I I would say that Aaron Rodgers retires after this season.
I would think so too. I
And if
think if
he,
the
if he
Jets let him
doesn't,
go, he'll just call it.
if he
Uh,
doesn't, I mean, where does he go where he thinks he could legitimately compete without getting his head blown off?
I mean, is it Pittsburgh? Is it, say San Francisco doesn't want to play Purdy? Does he go to San Francisco?
San Francisco, you
Because
gotta keep.
Purdy's up for a contract this year too.
He
And a
had
lot
a
of people,
bad end
there's
to
not a
his
lot of
season.
people, but there's some people saying that San Fran might not pay him.
He looked rusty at the end of the season. I
Sure.
mean, his game against Detroit was wild, but oh, that was an asterisk. That was everything before that was a little questionable, to say the least.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah. But like you gotta, Ayuk went down early, didn't have McCaffrey all year. Then he didn't have Mason.
hmm.
And then you didn't have Gorendo, and then you lost your left tackle. So I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for him.
No, it's
Um,
tough.
but
Injuries are
you're
tough.
losing a couple guys. So obviously your productivity is going to go down a little bit. Um, but I mean, if San Fran doesn't sign him, that's a guy that any of these QB needed teams could take a look into too. Because if you were to ask me right now, would I rather Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy?
Give me Brock.
It's like, yeah. I mean, I'd probably go
Give me
Brock.
Brock. Brock's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
to the big dance before,
yeah. I mean,
and I
I'm just
think
saying,
and I think he's hungry.
could be. He's definitely hungry to. Wasn't he
Gets.
like still splitting rent or something? Wasn't that like a story on him?
I think he has a roommate.
Yeah, he like has roommate and stuff. But
This
um,
dude is like this dude is like a freshman in college. Like he's living
Literally.
in a dorm with
Carson Beck's making more in NIL deals.
which is insane.
What's he making, like $4 million this year? He's making more than like Aaron Richardson, Caleb Williams. He's like making more than all these dudes.
We'll have to bring Sean on to iron out some of the details, but I
Right.
think that this NIL stuff has like there needs to be some regulations.
I think it's gonna have a rippling effect into the NFL. And it's just gonna make the NFL product worse. That's what I personally think.
I hope not, man.
I hope not either, but I think there's going to be some sort of rippling effects into the NFL.
Either that or you're going to see college players stay in college for way longer now. You're going to see rookies that are 25 years old.
I mean, look at Carson Beck, the perfect example. Everyone up until a few days ago when he said, no, I'm staying, everyone had him penciled in as, okay, he's going to the draft, he's declaring. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, no, I'm going to transfer to Miami, make $4 million to play in college one more year, which I don't blame him. Go get that money, boy.
Yeah, why not, dude?
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. It's just, as a fan, it's frustrating. And I think
Sure.
if you're especially a Georgia fan too, you're like, man, like we were fighting there, and now he's just gonna leave us for whatever. And like I get it. You gotta go get your money at the end of the day.
Sure.
These guys, they don't know if they're gonna be healthy. They don't know if they're gonna even make it in the NFL. So get your money while you
get
can.
the $4 million while you can. Absolutely.
Yeah, why not? You know, the dude like broke his arm. Like
I totally get it. I mean, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I'd do the same thing. But at the same time, you know, things happen where it's like, you know, the quarterback from Penn State, sitting behind Drew Aller, who was meant to be
he transferred out, yeah.
Who was meant to be the future of Penn State football, and Drew Aller was likely going to go to the NFL draft, if not find an NIL deal at another team.
Mm-hmm.
And backup quarterback says, sayonara, I'm leaving while you guys are in the middle of a playoff run, and I'm going to go get my bread. That's like, sure. Can you blame the guy? No, but at the same time, like, if you're the organization or a fan, what do you do? You can't do anything. You're just screwed.
It's not you can do.
So it'd be nice if there was like some sort of like contracts or, you know, portal rules, like a window for the portal, which I think they actually announced some sort of a now there's going to be a window.
I think there is some sort
first
of
week of January or something.
Yeah.
Something along those lines that just dropped today. I think there's like now a window in January, but even then, like, playoffs are still going on in January. So like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Maybe wait until after the national championship.
Yeah, you would think.
When is that? That's next
this
Monday,
weekend.
right?
It's on Monday,
weekend.
Yeah. Well,
why did they play on a Monday?
Yeah, it kind of sucks, doesn't it?
I hate how they play on a Monday.
Well, they have to do it.
The NFL plays Saturday and Sundays, which whatever. I don't like this end of year scheduling.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to Mr. Joel Klatt, shout out Mr. Joel Klatt, he believes that the Natty should be played on the Rose Bowl when the Rose Bowl game is played, and the Rose Bowl should just be the national championship pretty much, and it ends. You know, it would have ended in December.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is kind of
I wouldn't be opposed.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, because the Rose Bowl already has like this massive it's this like poetic college football. It's like the Rose Bowl. Like, it's gotta be like it's one of the most, it's one of the most popular, if not the most popular historic bowl game in college football, other than maybe Army Navy. But I don't know if you call that a bowl game.
That's just more of like a rivalry match.
Where's Sean? Where's Sean?
Sean,
Sean, where are you?
Yeah, I guess we got a little off topic there, but
no, man.
What I was saying is I am very much looking forward to this off season, only because, and I don't want to jinx myself. Maybe I'll knock on wood. I'll knock on wood. I have this inkling that Green Bay is going to make a big signing or big trade or something. I have a feeling we're going to bring a big name in, whether that is Adams or Higgins, Max Crosby, maybe a couple big names. I just have a feeling Green Bay is going to bring in some big name, and I'm excited for it.
That would be Max Crosby would be a game wrecker.
Josh Jacobs says he's going to be out there recruiting players. Who did Josh Jacobs play with last year? Who was his buddy out there in Las Vegas? What's
Josh
the need on
Jacobs,
Green Bay?
man.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Josh Jacobs.
What's today's date? January 14th, 2025. If you see Max Crosby on, playing in Green Bay next year, just know you heard it here first.
Also, Josh Jacobs was just one touchdown pass short of pretty much looking like Cam Scattaboo against Texas, the way he was trying to carry that team.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, outside of him and Jaden Reed, that team looked like it just lacked motivation, or just seemed like, just unmotivated.
But not Josh, is what I'm saying.
Which I think LaFleur kind of called out in a weird way about Jordan Love. He said going into this offseason next year, he wants Love to be more of a vocal leader, which I think is LaFleur's way of saying, hey, buddy, this is your team, rally the troops.
Yeah, facts.
Which I think that's another thing I think I could see out of Green Bay this offseason. You're gonna see a lot of guys like step up, and you're gonna see a lot of talk and interviews out of Josh Jacobs. A guy I think is gonna step up, Tucker Kraft. I think he's gonna come in and try and be a leader. He's already been saying some stuff. Xavier McKinney. You're gonna see a lot of these guys being very vocal this offseason. Jordan Love a little more than usual, I think. I think you're gonna see a very vocal offseason of these, Green Bay leaders.
That's the one thing that, and we already kind of touched on it earlier, but as much as it is a pro, that a lot of the, skill players in the Packers are young players, guys like your wide receiver core, Dontayvion Wicks, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dubes, obviously your quarterback, Jordan Love, even some of your offensive line, obviously Jordan Morgan. This is his rookie year. There's a lot of players on the Packers that are young, and you don't really have that standout veteran player to act as a leader.
There's a lack of leadership,
particularly on offense. Because obviously you could look at a guy like Jair, you know what I mean, on defense. Obviously he doesn't play that much, but like maybe he sticks out on defense. But at the end of the day, you need a play caller, you need a guide on offense. You need someone who, when they say, 1, 2, 3, the play hut, like everyone thinks you're scoring a touchdown on that play.
That's why I, kind of say I'm kind of salivating at the mouth of the idea of Davante Adams coming back to Green Bay. That's like if I were to make a list, I'm not thinking too hard into it. Obviously, I don't have the list made, but like list of off-season things I want to see, it's Adams. It's probably up there as far as things I want to see happen.
That's your dream guy. Like if you guys sign Davante, like you're a happy boy. You're a happy boy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure you're either going to target a wide receiver in free agency or the draft. One or the two.
Yeah. They're gonna go get a receiver. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Higgins is the young star, but I think if you can bring in Davante Adams with the young group of guys you have, I don't know. I kind of like the Adams route.
As long as Adams doesn't do something like go to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
you hate to see that. Pull a D-Hop. He goes to the Chiefs or, even a team like the I almost said the Lions, but that wouldn't really make too much sense. Pittsburgh,
Buffalo,
or Buffalo. It also makes sense.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a hypothetical, and it makes sense. Tyreek Hill to Baltimore.
Dude, that would be it.
Fire.
I'd put that would be the Super Bowl bet easy. The second that he puts pen to paper,
that offense would be insane.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
I mean, I know like Henry another year older and Hill will be another year older, but I mean, Henry kind of proved all the doubters wrong this year. Like, oh, he's 31 or whatever. He's he's past his prime, and he comes out and second in the league in rushing.
Yeah,
I think league leader in touchdowns. Like he's good. He's still right in the middle of his prime.
Yeah.
He's gonna have that, like Adrian Peterson longevity, that Frank Gore longevity. You know, Frank Gore played till he's like 39. That's probably what we're gonna see out of Henry. Maybe not that long, but
yeah, and maybe not getting the same amount of snap percentages as he has, now. But who knows? Who knows?
yeah.
Um, uh, I have some. I could almost see them swinging on a running back, second round or something like that. Keep the depth going. But that's
Who is that? Baltimore you're talking about?
yeah. But this is draft stuff. This is talk for another time. I'm getting ahead of
Yeah,
myself.
we got some time until then.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm as much as I am still focused on the Birds, and the season's not over, fortunately for me. I'm still always excited for the draft.
Yeah,
I always love the draft. It's just like it's a beautiful thing, It's almost poetic, all these young guys coming out of college and like where are they gonna go? You know what I mean?
love to see it.
It'll be a fun draft year this year for sure,
Maybe we'll do some sort of
especially with Sweet Life. We can
Sweet Life draft night stream or something. We'll have to cook some up ideas there. Cook up some ideas.
Well, we could. I'll grab the pot. You grab the pan. We'll start cooking. We'll start cooking.
Yeah, I know. Was it last year or a couple years ago? Me and a couple of buddies, we we watched the draft together, and every pick we all put $1 on the table, and we all picked who we thought was going to get picked. Well, if multiple people picked the same person, we didn't put $1 in.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember why we did it. Maybe we did, and then I think if you picked it right, you split whatever was on the table. So if say there was $5 on the table and 2 dudes got the right pick, it'd be like $2.50 each, basically. Essentially.
Oh, I have my takes on the draft that I will not disclose yet until we figure out our
once we get closer to it.
Our content, our draft content.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to rally the troops and get some sort of
100%
draft game going.
Yeah, hell yeah. Stay tuned for the draft. Draft and off-season Sweet Life. We don't stop. We won't completely stop in the off-season. We're still going.
Yeah, stay tuned for maybe some mock drafts on the gram. We'll get the post on those once the season's over. May have done a couple already, but they're still in the chamber. I haven't released those to the public yet. Those are merely just screenshots on my phone.
Oh yeah, well we could definitely do some like live stream Saturday mock drafts and stuff like that too, and just vibe. But
I know what we did. We did one year where we did we go back and forth? I forget how we did it, but I think that's what we did. I think we took we went in order. I say we did the draft and I had the first pick and be like, oh, the Titans take him. And then the next guy would be like, all right, I'm the Browns. I'm going to take this guy. So we kind of did a mock draft, but we all combined. Yeah, we went back and forth.
Oh yeah, that's how some of the guys I watched do it. So if we were to do one, let's say I get
you
the first pick,
I'd get the second pick.
Yeah, evens and odds basically.
Yeah.
So 1,000% we could do that. 100,000% we could do that, man. I'm hyped, man. And of course, the first one we do, we will make sure that you get your Packers.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
We'll see
the picks are how the picks line
evens or odds.
Maybe it'll work where one's even, one's odd.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I think Green Bay. I think they have the 23rd pick right now. I think they said. So it's a nod. And the last time they had a 23rd pick was going into Rodgers' third year starting, and then they won the Super Bowl. We have the 23rd pick. We're going into Jordan Love's third year starting. Fill in the blank.
People, this is a podcast where we have a Packers fan, in case you forgot, and an Eagles fan. So
who knew?
Roll with the punches. If there's some people listen that are just like,
what the fuck are they talking about?
I'm a Giants fan.
We try to be as unbiasedly biased as we can be here.
I like that, unbiasedly biased. We don't always talk about the Packers and Eagles, but like the
No,
Packers just lost, so we had to talk about them a lot in this episode.
with a
Like,
real, with a, you know, pour the
and if it,
alcohol on the wound, let
yeah,
it burn for it to heal.
um, yeah, but we're gonna be talking about a lot of teams, especially if we do mock drafts. So if you're a Giants fan, if you're a
Especially come
Bills,
off season,
if you're a
we're going to be
Steelers
talking.
fan, if you're a Bills fan, no matter what fan you are, um, we do mock drafts and stuff, and even just off-season news. We could have like news weeks, news episodes and stuff, and just discuss stuff for all teams. So this is it's gonna be a much more involved off-season than just the Eagles and the
Yeah,
Packers.
that, and if we really have nothing to talk about, we might see some just some random shit. I know we have a couple things we did like blind ranking and stuff that we haven't put out, but we'll get a couple more of those in the
Oh my God,
chamber.
yeah, dude, Jesus Christ.
Maybe start we'll start getting those out as
Yeah,
fillers in the off season.
100%, 100%, brother. Cool.
Well, Jack,
Is there anything else you want to make a
I will
remark
say,
on?
yeah, I will say, man, that I loved doing the show with you. I had a great time, and I look forward to keeping this going. But I will say, man, like I didn't like doing it this year, man. It kicked my ass in Survivor. Your Eagles eliminated the Packers from the playoffs. Like, I just
Sorry, man. It's
enjoy
beginner's
what
luck.
we created, but boy, I fucking hate doing this every week with you,
Hey,
Jack.
next year, baby. Off-season time. It's off-season time,
Come
brother.
back. Yeah, we'll get some, we'll have to get some. I know our boy Johnny likes to throw trivia questions. Maybe we'll have Johnny come on and do some trivia.
Oh yeah. No,
Eat
I know
some,
some people that would like to get
eat some hot
involved.
chips.
We
Yeah,
have
maybe we'll bring some people on in the off season.
your fellow Packer fan, Jordan. Shout out Jordan.
Johnny,
Sure, he would
Jays.
enjoy to get involved in some sort of
I
way.
think our first guest. I know we had Sean on a
John,
couple weeks ago, but I think our first guest in the off season. I think we need to bring Snake on.
fan of the year.
The fan of the year deserves some flowers. I think we got to bring him on.
Talk about the Bills. He's a Bills fan, so he could talk about the Bills too.
Yeah, it'd be perfect. Let's see. Let's get him on this Saturday. Start talking about the game. He
Yeah,
deserves it, man. He was our fan of the year award.
yeah, absolutely. Sure he would love that.
We'll have to get him on. I'll have to message him.
Do it, brother.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just kidding, Jack. I don't hate doing this with you every week. I enjoy it. But man,
I know it's been
kick my ass in every aspect of the. And he just beat my ass in Madden the other day too. So they're just like,
it's just been a rough go for Cody.
it's been a rough stretch, but things come in threes. We're gonna turn around here.
Hey, you gotta learn how to play.
It's not
your
how many
opponent.
times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up.
Get back up, man.
And
Let's
we're
rock.
getting back up, baby.
We're getting back up, and
It's a bright future. Things are looking bright ahead.
we could definitely pick some more interesting wagers too for things like Survivor for next season. Obviously, we had like the money pick'ems thing, which
Yeah.
I'll chase you down for that soon enough.
Oh, did I ever send that to you?
Uh,
I don't think I did.
I don't think he did,
I don't know if I did.
but
What is it? $32
Don't-
or $36 or $34 or
yeah, it was like $30 or something.
all right.
Um,
I'll send it over.
But we can get pretty creative. So I'm excited. Stay
That might
tuned.
be
Stay
interesting.
tuned this off season. Okay.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good Sweet Life football off season.
Yeah.
The Sweet Life
If there's
doesn't
any
stop.
topics that you watchers out there would like us to talk about, just leave it in the comments. No matter what it be. Man, I feel like there's nothing that we really wouldn't discuss. Well,
Sure.
there are things we wouldn't discuss. But I mean, if you were here earlier in the season, we had a Diddy counter, so
Yeah.
we
Well, the Diddy counter, it comes and
we,
it goes.
we stretch things here. So
Comes and it goes. We're
I mean,
finding
other than
our.
that, I really
We're
got nothing
finding
more
our.
to talk about.
We're like
came on
SpongeBob
here.
SquarePants. We're finding our identity still. This is only season 1.
Yeah.
By season 3,
Wait, did you see?
by
Speaking of
season
that,
3, we might actually have Diddy on the show. We don't know.
it could be. But speaking of SpongeBob, it's funny you bring that up. Did you see the meme where they're blaming the dirty bubble for the Chargers losing?
That was awesome.
I thought that was really
They
funny.
said, dude, it was like
The
it
dirty
said
bubble like
if
sucked into Harbaugh.
yeah, yeah.
And once the dirty bubble did that, the
The dirty
Texans won
bubble
like a 32
did
to 6 run.
the dirty bubble did what to Harbaugh? Hey,
Did he? Did he
dude,
count it?
dude. No, it was like the post I saw was, dude, I wouldn't have bet Chargers money line if I knew the dirty bubble was going to get involved. It's like I wouldn't have either.
Yeah, the dirty bubble, man. Came for a lot of parlays.
Oh man,
Especially ours. We had the Chargers winning too. That damn dirty bubble.
yeah. I didn't have any real action on it, but it was our prediction.
It was. Yeah, I had them winning too. I thought they were gonna take it. All right. One more time before we do end things here. Just want to reiterate our sponsors here. We got Underdog Fantasy promo code GETRIGHT. Get over there, get some free money. 50% deposit match up to your first $1,000. And I don't know how I forgot to read this one off in the beginning of the show. Go over to Trophy Smack. Like I said, go get yourself a plaque. How about a ring? Chain? They got trophies. But last but not least, they have these bad boys. It's the belt that does anything but hold the pants up, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Still waiting on my trophy, by the way. That will be on the show. It will be on Instagram on the show somewhere. I will flaunt the trophy 1000%.
All right. Well, once it comes in, you have to flaunt it off. All right. Other than that, guys, sorry I was so gloomy and in my bag here, but
Gotta lick your wounds.
still fresh off the season being over. I'll be perkier next week. Hopefully, we'll see. As long as the Texans win. All right. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you Saturday.
GETRIGHT fantasy is the play. Marking nothing but I tune every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go